Welcome back to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. I'm your host, Peggy Meyer. Let me start out with a question for you. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I don't have time for that? Whether it's, I don't have time to work out, or to cook healthy meals, or call my mom or dad or sister or friend. I don't have time to take a walk with my spouse or my kids. I don't have time to pray. I don't have time to slow down. I don't have time to. We say it all the time, right? I know I catch myself often saying the same thing. But today, I really want to gently challenge that phrase. Because when we say, I don't have time, what are we really saying? When we say, I don't have time to, what are we actually saying no to? And just as important, what are we saying yes to instead? Because the truth is, we all get the same 24 hours. So when you say no to the gym or no to working out, are you saying yes to comfort or exhaustion? When you say no to healthy eating, are you saying yes to ease, convenience, or even habit? When you say no to doing activities that might embrace your relationships and enhance them, are you saying yes to distraction or busyness? I'm not here to pull a guilt trip on you because I'm just as guilty in saying I don't have time and doing other things instead of what I know is more important for me. This is really just more about awareness because with awareness, we can create change. We can choose something else instead. So, are you willing to try an exercise that is kind of powerful with me? So, it goes like this. What if every time we say, I don't have time, we pause and replace it with, that's not a priority for me. So when you say, I don't have time to work out, instead of saying that, replace it with, my health is not a priority. When you say, I don't have time to cook healthy meals, replace it with, fueling my body well is not a priority. When you say, I don't have time to call my mom or my dad or my sister or my friend, and you replace it with my relationship with this person is not a priority. How does that feel? I know. Oof. I mean, right now, that hits a little different, right? When we say, instead of I don't have time, we just say, that's not a priority for me. That hits differently. And for me, it hits me right in the heart. I know. I know this can feel a little uncomfortable and maybe even a little confrontational, but stick with me here. Because if it is true, then at least you're being honest. But for most of us, these statements are not actually true. We don't say, my health is not a priority, or my relationships are not a priority, because we often make time for what truly matters to us. So the real question becomes, if it's not true, why are my actions not reflecting the truth? And so let's throw in another simple but kind of eye-opening exercise as well. Imagine with me for a moment that someone followed you around all day, every day for a week, and wrote down what you did, how long you did it, and how often you did it. Then they created a list of your top 5 priorities based purely on your time. What would show up? What would your top 5 priorities be? Now, not like what you say is important, but what your calendar or your habits and your behaviors reveal. What would your top 5 priorities be based on how you spent your time? Would they be your phone, your work, your to-do list, social media, or would it reflect your health, your family, your faith, your personal growth? Because the truth is that your actions reveal your priorities, not your intentions. So sit with that for a moment. Your actions reveal your priorities. So, what are your priorities based on how you spend your time? Now, let's go a little deeper in this and think about your relationship with God. Where in your life are you struggling to be obedient? Because often where there is love, there's obedience. When there's struggle, when there's a lack of obedience, there might be a lack of love or a need for growth. And think about it. Where there's love, there's obedience. When you love your kids, your spouse, your parents, you care for them. You spend time with them. You do things for them out of love. And when there's disobedience, there's a lack of love in some aspect. Whether it is no love for yourself because you just eat crap and you don't work out and you feel like crap, or there's no love for others where we lash out, we purposely go against what we know we should do for others. We rebel. This is not condemnation. It's just being aware of how we're acting, whether we're being obedient to what we know is best, or if we just rebel and being disobedient. And in our relationship with God and how He's asking us to be, we can take time to reflect on the 10 Commandments and the 7 deadly sins of pride, envy, sloth, greed, wrath, gluttony, and lust, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of curiosity. Where are we not living these things? Where are we allowing these 7 deadly sins to perpetrate our lives? So you can ask yourself, where do you struggle? Where do I struggle? I know I personally struggle a lot, especially with pride, envy, gluttony, but I know if I dig down a little bit deeper and I am really honest with myself, I struggle with all the commandments and the 7 deadly sins. At times, not all the time, but they come in place, right? And I think you would probably find the same is true for you. And so when I do, I'm disobedient to how God wants me to live. And we can also see this as being out of alignment. Where are we out of alignment or integrity? Where are we saying one thing and doing another? And this isn't about, being shamed or, trying to make you feel guilty or anything. These struggle points aren't places of shame and guilt. They're invitations. They're messages. They're invitations to grow and to love deeper and to realign your priorities. And, sometimes these things, when you say no to something or someone says, no, you shouldn't do that because that's not right. If saying no or that's not a priority feels too harsh and it triggers your inner rebellious teenager like it does for me sometimes, then soften it a little bit. Instead of saying a firm no or that's not a priority, you can say, no, not right now, right? Because sometimes we rebel because we think it's an absolute no. Some things are. Don't get me wrong. Some things are an absolute no. But other things are like, well, maybe not right now. Or that's not my top priority right now. I'm choosing something else in this moment. I am focusing on healthier options. We can all kind of put that into place so it doesn't feel like it's a no forever. It's putting yourself in control and choosing something that is most important for you in this moment. This isn't really about being harsh. It's about being honest with ourselves. Because honesty can bring freedom, freedom to love yourself and love others as God wants us to. And it creates space for growth without triggering resistance. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today, even tonight, or even this week. You just need to start aligning your actions with what you say matters most to you, one small shift at a time. So it could be a 10-minute walk instead of not going to the gym at all or not working out at all. It could be a 10-minute walk with some family members as a walk and talk, and you can do it both at the same time. It could mean cooking one healthy meal instead of ordering out. It could be a quick phone call instead of, oh, I'll do it later. These small choices, they add up and they create momentum. So the next time you hear yourself say, I don't have time, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this really about time or is it about priority? Because your life is built on what you choose to prioritize. And when what you prioritize aligns with your values and with God, that's when everything starts to change. And it really helps us transform from the inside out. So, thank you for joining me today on Positive Solutions for Life. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need this reminder. And as always, keep choosing and doing what matters most to you. Have a great day.